Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. I'm looking straight at the camera. I had one viewer who told me, what's the matter with you? Look at the camera, don't stare on the side. So big criticism. I guess I screwed up there. Sorry folks. I'm trying to put that camera right in the center so you and I can look at each other straight. I hope that viewer is happy now. I think he called himself Agitator Pro. Well, there you have it, Agitator Pro. I hope this is better. Let me know if it agitates you. You know, we don't want to freak you out here, eh? We're all having fun, boys. Take it easy. Having said that, welcome to another show. That beginning, that introduction just kind of reflects the whole week. I've had a horrible week. I got to tell you. All kinds of things. I'm not at liberty to discuss it, obviously, but I can tell you it was just a horrible week. My wife was away, so I couldn't rant and I couldn't share my disgust with what's been happening at work. And you know what? She was away on business. So all in all, she's back. I'm back, and I'm fountain pen therapy today. I'm having a ball. I've got my cappuccino. Thank God this channel is alive, and thank God we're doing all kinds of nice things here. Thank you for all your comments, by the way. The videos this week just performed really well. I think you guys enjoyed them, so that's excellent. So now, well, we have another recap for you. It's the recap for February the 9th, 2025. Stay tuned, folks. Okay, so the first segment is what have we got in the market? Some pen, ink news, if any. First of all, let's start with my traditional Chinese pen review just to see what's new. Not much out there. I mean, we had started with a bang, and I know that Shanghai knife dude has been telling us there's a lot coming from Ongdian. In fact, there's this, we know there's this Ongdian T1 titanium 1866 version of the pen. I haven't seen it yet, folks. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's sold out, but I haven't seen it yet. I know he's reviewed it this week. But he's also mentioned that there's this T3. I put a picture up on the screen. So another Ongdian titanium pen. I think he mentioned there's going to be a T2, a T4. So I don't know what's going on. I guess Ongdian is working on a few titanium pens. Stay tuned for that. So far, I haven't seen anything here in the American or in the North American market. So as soon as I do, I will order them so that I can review them with you. What else is in the news? Pen BBS. They've been quiet for years now. Well, take a look at this picture. I found this on Instagram, I believe. Beautiful pen, but I don't know if it's being offered, if it's being manufactured, if it's just in the pipeline, if it's just a dream. It looks like an interesting pen, but I haven't seen it. If and when I do, it will be ordered because it looks like it's a lot of fun. Next, what have I got for you? The only thing that I had missed is that Ongdian came out with the M2. I'll show you a picture on the screen, which was in brass. That one and also the 1866 in brass. So two brass pens that I had missed. I've not ordered them. I'm not sure I'm going to order the M2. I've reviewed the M2 and the aluminum alloy. Will I order that brass? I was thinking of perhaps doing a review of several pocket pens made in brass. I know that I can find some. There's an EDC that I've seen, very nice. We've got this Ongdian. We got Gravitas that's always in the picture, etc., etc. So maybe if I, run out of things to do, it's not a priority. But let me know. Are you interested in brass pocket pens to be reviewed? Let me know, and I'll do a kind of a little shootout, if you will. Order some, put them in my inventory, and then review them for you. Just let me know. What else have I got? Well, let's, first of all, I've got Atlas Stationers, some new arrivals. We've got these two Bennu Euphoria models up for sale. They're limited editions from what I understand. They look beautiful. A little pricey, but they look beautiful. So I've got that from Atlas. What else have we got from Atlas? We've got the ST Blue Moon. Here's a picture of them that Atlas is selling. I believe most of the other retailers are selling them as well. Check them out, see which price is more competitive. I don't know why. These STs don't intrigue me as they should. But there you have it. Then there is this very interesting offering, which I saw on Atlas Stationers, and I believe I saw it in others as well. I think Pen Chalet had them. The Colorverse Shuttle Dip Pen Nib. Here it is. It's kind of a whole complete set. You can order the nib in two different materials, I think brass and steel, and then there's of course the holder itself, and you've got this little nib holder or nib where you can place your nib and just put it down on this kind of, I guess it's a holder, if you will. So that's interesting. I may order that just to do my swatching. Stay tuned for that. What else have I got? Well, we got Pen Chalet. It's got this brand new Platinum 3776 model. I found intriguing, so that may be of interest to you if you have not ordered one. This looks like a really sharp model. Next, what have I got? Well, we got Scribo. Now, Scribo, here's a picture of their brand new Feel pen, which is a model that we've seen already, that kind of hourglass model. We've seen those already, but they're just beautiful. I was really tempted to pull the trigger on these. But what I did is that I got in touch with Scribo, Luca at Scribo, and I said, look, Luca, you said you would be coming out with a new model and that you would let me know. And I think, we're trying to organize some collaboration. Maybe you will send me the pen for review, etc. So I was asking, when is the new model coming out, or are these the new models that you were talking about? And he said, no, we're working on a brand new model. It's just a little bit delayed. It may be coming out in 2 or 3 months. And he said that he would let me know as soon as that new model comes out. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Luca. And when it does, let me know. I've also promised Luca that if ever I'm in Bologna, maybe as early as this summer, I'm going to go visit them and we'll do a kind of a tour of their facilities. That would be great. But stay tuned for that. Then what have I got from Applebaum? Well, Applebaum, I saw these 3 inks. They may be sold elsewhere. 3 Dante Alighieri inks that I find very intriguing. I may very well order these just because they're Dante Alighieri. Okay, there you have them. The 3, of course, are always there at the same time. So that's what's new on the market. So that's it. Let me just set up and we'll go to my next segment. Okay, so I thought I'd do an unboxing. This is the Atlas haul. Atlas Stationers has once a month, usually at the end of the month, a experienced pen sale that I've talked about in the last couple of recaps. I participated in the last one at the end of January, and here's the haul that I purchased from that sale. So let me get my trusty knife here. Okay, here we go. Whoa. I guess the only thing I don't appreciate about this sale is UPS charges. I got to tell you, they're really exorbitant. I got to speak to Brendan about that, because they charged me like $300 to get this package to me, which is ridiculous. I know that other companies don't charge as much, but it is what it is, I guess, these days. And we are in Canada, and so there's, some other stuff to do, like, charge me for excise duties and customs and all the rest of it. Okay, so let's remove all this, and here are all the goodies. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these goodies from the box, because the box is a big one, and deal with the goodies one at a time. Okay, so I'm not going to do it in any particular order, so well packaged as usual, and everything comes in a box, of course, which is refreshing. Lately all I've been receiving is pens in this kind of wrap from China. It's good to see something a little more. I cut myself. Sorry about that, just a small paper cut there. Hopefully nothing serious. It won't prevent me from doing this beautiful unboxing. Okay, the first one is a Pelican product. And what have we got here? Okay, let's just open that up. As usual, very nice packaging. The only unfortunate thing is that this pen is not a fountain pen. It is a roller ball, but I was curious to see. This is the M. Is it the 2000 or the 4000? Yeah, it's an not 4,000, 400. So there you have it. And of course the roller ball. Is it a roller ball or a ball pen? Now I forget. Yeah, I think it's a roller ball. The roller ball is in there. So we'll take a look at this a little more closely. Maybe later on or in another review. So that's the first thing. Very nice. What else is in here? Okay, what's this big package? Ah, this is the Aurora. Now, this is... Look at the packaging. You got to give it to the Italians. Biased comment, Vince. Yeah, there you have it. It's a beautiful... another Optima. Very nice. I love this color. This will be the second Optima I have. And the nib. Whoa, what happened to the nib? They said the nib was scratchy, but I hope it's there. Yes, it is. Okay, it's there. The nib is here. They say it's scratchy. Oh, it's scratchy because I can see the tines are not well aligned. But I don't think that's anything serious. I think I can handle this, and if I can't, I'm just going to get, a Nimmeister to do it for me. But that's really minor, I think, in my view. But stay tuned, folks. We'll let you know whether it is minor or not. But in the meantime, that's a beautiful Optima. And one of the things during those sales, because some of the Italian pens are just always a little more expensive, they're much easier to bid for or to claim than some of the more popular, less expensive pens. So if you're into more expensive Italian pens like Visconti's, Auroras, even Leonardo, and even the Leonardo were the steel nibbed ones, that's the place to look. Okay. Next, what have we got? Oh, okay, Tempi Moderni. This must be the triangular shaped ballpoint from, how do I open this? Do I push it through? Oh, I see. From Peniter. Peniter always has great packaging. Here it is. I guess, okay, here we go. Isn't that gorgeous? So that's that triangular shaped pen. Wow. I got to tell you, if the fountain pen is anything like this, I got to get myself one. This is a ballpoint. I like that triangular shape, but it's got some weight to it, which is nice. So we'll leave that there. So that's this next one. What else I got? I had other Peniter products, and of course, I just want to show you the haul. I'm not going to get into all the details here. Especially some of you told me forget about reviewing ballpoints because it all depends. Where's my knife? Here it is. They all depend on, you know, the cartridge, you know. If you get quality inserts for these ballpoints and roller balls, then the pen is reflected in that. Oh, I thought I ordered a bunch of these. Did I not order a bunch of these? Maybe not. Okay, this is another ballpoint Peniter. I thought that a bunch of them would come, and not just one. But I may be wrong. Maybe it's some other ones. That's another Peniter. You know, I find myself using more and more ballpoints and at work. My wife would appreciate this one, so, you know, I figured for the price, why not? But I really thought I bought like a whole set of them, not just, are they, oh, I see. The others are here, baby. That's more Peniter. Again, as I mentioned in my previous recaps, a lot of ball pens, a lot of ballpoints, and a lot of roller balls in this particular haul. But figured, why not? Yeah, okay, here they are. Yeah, it's the same pen, but in, you know, various models. That's the red model. And this one is just another model. I'm not going to bore you with that. But again, these are all pens that I'm going to take a look at and maybe decide whether or not I'll do a separate review of them. But, you know, great products. So that's the Peniter. Now, I'm really looking forward to one, but I'm going to save it to the last. What is this one? Another Peniter. Yeah, that's the other red one. Yeah, because I know it was a set of 1, 2, 3, 4 of them for, I think, roughly $200, which I thought was a good deal. Nice little pen, gotta tell you. So, there you have it. That's the Peniter ballpoint pens. Okay, what else have I got here? Ah, okay, this is the last one. And this one's a little special for me because it's the Hippocratica pen, roller ball, that I'm going to be giving to my son, the doctor. He's doing his residency right now, recently graduated from medical school, and I always wanted to buy him a Hippocratica fountain pen, but he felt that fountain pens at the hospital, writing notes, is not the most convenient, so I figured I'd get him this one. And I've been eyeing this Mayora Hippocratica for a while now. Wow, this is beautiful. This is really a nice pen. You see with the symbols there. Hippocratica written all over the beautiful band. It's got some really, really nice weight. Boy, I think the fountain pen would be gorgeous. There it is. So, very nice. So, you know what? I might be doing a review on all these ballpoints and see whether or not they have a place in our hearts. Mayora. So, Nino Marino will be happy that I finally got this pen for my son. he kept saying, go for it. You'll see it's a beautiful pen. And it sure is. So that's the Mayora. So folks, that's it for the unboxing. Hope you enjoyed that. Stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, so what do we got new for you on YouTube in terms of YouTube reviews, mine and others? Quiet, you know, nothing I find nothing overly interesting or novel. There is my friend Une Fontaine de Plume that's again found a new fix for the C2000. Now I know that we're getting carried away. We've ordered, you know, smoke guns, and we've got all kinds of solutions to the C2000 Asvine dry nib issue. Some of you may be, you know, totally fed up with it, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. And Fontaine de Plume has suggested a way of a simple way of doing things and correcting the issue. So we'll be reviewing that in a few minutes. And Shaq MD, well, you know, he's done something positive. He took his C2000, he sliced, I think, he sliced that nib right down, or increased the slice in the middle, and he's turned them into beautiful flex nibs. Take a look at this video. It may very well be interesting for you. I don't have the tool nor the skill to kind of slice my nib the way he's done it. Shaq MD, if you're looking at this, let me know. Maybe I'll send you a little note. Just let me know, what tool did you use to cut that nib, and maybe I can do something simple and check it out and see if it works. But that's an interesting twist. He's always got twists with his nibs. You know, he's always playing around with that. He's experimenting. So, Shaq MD, for your pleasure. This week, well, what did I offer you? I offered you a beautiful pen, which was the Conway Stewart. Here is my review. If you have not had a chance to review, take a look at that, please do. It's a beautiful, beautiful pen. But stay tuned. I want to take a look at that pen for you in a second, where I might be a little disappointed. And it's just a follow-up on that review. So just in a few seconds, we'll take a look at that. And what's coming up? Well, what's coming up in next week is I finally going to, I think, publish my first Montegrappa pen review. So there you have it. It's a surprise. It's not showing on the picture that I've just put up for you. And I worked on a new video, which was, it's a showdown at the Paper Corral, where I'm going to do a showdown between Tomo River Original and 7 other types of papers. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be published sometime soon, but it's, again, one of the long videos, but where I review and do writing samples and compare 7 different types of journals and paper, and, you know, have a showdown with Tomo River, and then I declare kind of a winner and my favorites. So there you have it in terms of YouTube reviews. So stay tuned for my next segment. Now, we've been talking about the C2000 and Asvine and that terrible dry nib issue that it's having. It's, you know, it's the exception that the pens don't dry up. The great majority of comments I've received, they do have that issue. I certainly did have them in 3 of 4 pens. And, you know, I came to the conclusion that the problem, and several others have done so as well, that the problem comes from this cap ring. That's where everything leaks on us. And there's been all kinds of solutions that have been offered. You see Shaq MD uses kind of a spray rubber bottle where you spray in, and it coats the inside with this rubber once it dries up. And he felt that could have solved the problem. Some people have told me that it could create a mess not to do it, so I haven't done it yet. I've ordered the rubber can, plastic dip, I think they call it. I haven't received it yet, but when I do, I may try it just on one pen. Others have suggested, you know, just go in with a little bit of glue and kind of fix the problem that way. But others have suggested that glue may emit some gases that might ruin the nib. So that hasn't worked out for me either, or I'm hesitating to use that as a solution. But another solution was offered by Fontaine de Plume, and here it is. Let me go to my overhead camera. Okay, here we are. The solution that he suggested was that we try to unscrew this part. And it can unscrew, by the way, very, very difficult. I had to kind of use what I did is I put a rubber band around that finial, and then I just kind of used a wrench and slowly turned it. If you do have a wrench with kind of plastic coverings, that may be a better alternative than this thing. I was afraid I was going to crack it. I didn't crack it. I did it nice and slow, and it did work. And I'm going to show you one of the pens. And what he does is that he takes this plumber Teflon tape that you usually use to kind of seal plumbing connections, if you will. And I bought the thinner version and the thicker version. And what you do, and I'm going to unscrew this just to show you what I mean. Actually, let me take another one, which is this one here. Yeah, you see, around that screwing area, I just applied that Teflon, and then you screw back on the piece, and it did solve the issue. And we'll see. We're going to test it out for the following week, and we'll see if it dries up on us again. So far, so good. Let me just test this one. It's been fixed for about a couple of days. So let me just see if it if there's a drying there. No, so far, C1000, and this is the red, not the red blue, with that 1.1 stub. So far so good. And I did the same thing to this green. And what I noticed, let me just see if I could get it to, you see that little cracking there from the wood? When I unscrewed the cap, I kind of saw it. So, there may be some penetrating air through that crack as well. It looks like it's sealed when I touch it, but so far so good. I tested them, both of them, and I did it on this red-blue as well, and not on this green one, because this green one never had the problem. So far so good, which leads me to discuss one other item. Let me just cut back. And that is this contraption that I ordered. This is a smoke gun. And what I did, of course, is that I would, and let me just cut back. You kind of let the smoke go in there, and we'll turn it on. And see if there's any leakages. And as you can see, there's no leakage on that clip. Now, I got to tell you, folks, I regret buying this thing. Because, of course, what I did all week was I tested all my pens, not all my pens, some of my nice pens with this thing to see if they leaked. And to my great shock, I discovered that I had many leaky pens, or not leaky, but pens that would dry up on me. And when I tested them with this contraption, it's clear there's penetration. So I said to myself, this cannot be, okay? It cannot be that all these beautiful pens have a dry nib issue, especially the vintage pens, including, unfortunately, this Conway Stewart that I just reviewed. I mean, this is a beautiful pen. I was absolutely ecstatic when I got it. It's got that beautiful vintage look. It is used. I bought it used. I mean, the pen to me is one of the most classic pens. But take a look. It's dry. Okay? And so what I did is I tested it with this thing. And to my great shock, can you see that? Smoke coming out of that clip again. And that's where the leakage. And, you know, a lot of the vintage pens have a dry nib issue, I find. Let me just get rid of all this. So I was very disappointed. And I'm not going to mention, I tested this in other pens. But the point I want to make is that I think this thing, I'm going to throw it in the garbage because it's just going to upset me. You know, I thought I would use it from now on in every review. But I said, should I disappoint people? Because at the end of the day, that this pen dries up on me a little bit. You know, and I mentioned this in response to several of my viewers who had comments. We shouldn't exaggerate, you know. I mean, it's a pen. And if it does dry up, all we need to do is kind of give it a little, you know, little nudge on the converter or on the piston, kind of just, you know, let the ink flow again. And the problem is solved. Another way of doing it is you dip the pen in a little bit of water, get the capillary action going, and you know what, the pen will work. And it's not the end of the world. Or just give it a little twist, some ink will flow, and the pen starts flowing again. So, you know, I don't want to test all my pens to discover they have a major leakage in terms of air and be so disappointed and say to myself, you know what, they're not good. Or, you know, put them aside or criticize them. And maybe some of you would be very much surprised or disappointed. And it may very well that every pen I test will have a kind of a leakage there. And then Fontaine de Plume, my French friend, said that this thing, it may not be the most reliable thing in the world. And what he explained, and I'm glad he did, because I may very well not be using this thing every time I review a pen. What he said was, let me go to my overhead camera, is that this thing kind of falsifies things, because what you do is you kind of, you know, you put this tube in your pen, you kind of stop the leakage and you force the air, okay? And I mean, there's a lot of pressure coming out of this machine, okay? And you force it so much that eventually something comes out. What he's saying is that that's not a realistic look. That's not the way the pen normally reacts when it is closed. When it's just closed like that, there's a little bit of air going in, but you don't have this pressure being put that obviously may find some leakage somewhere and kind of falsifies the picture because it doesn't mimic, you know, the reality. The reality is the pen is just sitting there this way. There's no pressure being put into the cap. And sometimes, you know, that pressure could kind of, it's so hard and it's so forceful that it will even force some movement somewhere to even cause the leak. So I think he's right. I think that we should take this machine and if anybody got tempted to buy one, use it with some, you know, hesitation. On the other hand, I did test this with all my Pilot pens. No leakage, folks. It's absolutely seal-proof. And some other very, very well, you know, branded or well-known pens didn't have that problem. So, Is it a good tool or not? I'm not sure. What do you guys think? Should I be using this tool every time I review a pen? Maybe the right way of doing things is to, when you test it, to kind of test it very lightly. In other words, let me just turn it on. Not kind of tap it there, but just let some air go in. Let me just turn it on again. Just let it go just a little bit at a time, not pressure. Just see, and you see right now that just without even capping it, there's no air coming out of that clip section. So maybe that's the way we would use it. The same thing applies to this test, because if you're capping it, you may be putting a lot of pressure. But on the other end, if I just nothing's coming out. Whereas with my Conway Stewart, I'm not putting too much pressure. You see, the air's coming out. So maybe this is a lighter test that can be used. For example, let me take a look at this Manjon TI 136 just for the fun of it. Yeah, I'm blocking it here, and there's no air coming out. Pretty seal proof. And in this Cochran, that it's usually not seal proof, always giving me problems. Look, they may have fixed their problem, because usually the air out of the All-Americans and the other 1989s or 1889s that I have, bunch of leakage right there. And the pen would leak on me. And, this thing's been lasting a lot longer than the others. So I'm hoping that maybe they solved their seal problem, But, as some of you have suggested, maybe the solution is just to go in there with a little, a long Q-tip and just kind of gently apply products. And there could be a variety of products, liquid products, that could, solve the issue. And maybe the other way of doing things would be to, when you uncap this, unscrew it, just put some gel, silicone gel around that screwing mechanism and re-screw the cap. Maybe that would solve the issue as well, as opposed to this Teflon plumbing tape, if you will. But having said that, I hope that this is the last time. I'm really waiting for Doodlebud and even Inquiring Minds. They're more technical guys, to kind of test these pens and see what they think. I think Doug at Inquiring Minds and Doodlebud one day will get the nod, and especially Doodlebud, who's the engineer. Maybe he'll take all of our theories and kind of come up with the answer. But there you have it. I hope that kind of is the last of this C2000 dilemma, and unless somebody else comes up with something intriguing. But folks, we're having some fun with it. That's all. Now, what else did I want to discuss? Okay, yeah. Pens that I had during the week. What did I use during the week? Well, I did want to use this Conway, but it dried up on me, and I was so disappointed. What I did use was, I had these pens. So I used this Scribo. I mean, I had put this pen away and just took it out and, writes beautifully. Just beautifully. One of my favorite pens. With that flex, fine nib. Just so nice. So that was one of the pens that I used this week. I got to tell you folks, I am really enjoying this pen. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. And I think I did review it in 2024, and I didn't declare it a winner, and I'm almost tempted to bring it back to 2025 and give it another shot. But I can tell you that this Manjon TI 136. Just with that lemon nib, it is so comfortable. And this titanium it's not heavy. And again, it's the lemon hand polished medium nib. Very, very nice. So I inked this pen up, I think, twice this week at the office. I did go back to I know this pen, people didn't like it, this Booker CR Tag Moon Cathedral, Cologne to Cathedral dedication. But look, it writes, and by the way, I did test it with the smoke, and there was no, it was pretty good seal. Cologne Cathedral, dedication. Writes very nice thin line. I enjoyed this pen all week as well. I also went back to the Mahjong. Let's just see if it writes. Yeah. No leakage there, folks. No leakage there. Mahjong. And what is it? What was it? This was the C5, or forget now what they call this. I believe it was the C5, but again, a beautiful pen. Some of you don't like it. I think it's a very nice pen. Good weight, good size. No leakage at all. Take a look at that. Nothing. No burping. That's a sign of a good pen, folks. I don't care what anybody says. And I also used my this fake because they used that. I mean, that's too bad. This is the Lemon M7, I think we're at now, which is an imitation of the Mahjong one. But again, it's the lemon hand-polished medium nib that's just made my writing experience just great. So use this pen as well. So those are the pens that I used during the week. This is the one I would have wanted to. I'm going to give it kind of a little nudge and get it going again. I hesitate to put any rubber or any sealant or anything in there. I don't want to ruin this pen. It is what it is, folks. It's a vintage pen. Yes, it's got a bit of a leakage there, but it's not the end of the world. And I'm not going to lose sleep over it, as they say. So what else have I got for you this week? Oh, yes. I mentioned to you last week that I ordered a bunch of Jinhao inks. The Jinhao inks have come. I have 6 of them right now, and they come in this little box. Box is nothing to speak of. I mean, they were, wrapped in that rubberized wrapping. The boxes are not great. They do come safe and secure with this little bit of styrofoam to stop the movement. But the ink bottles are just beautiful. Take a look at that. So I have this purple, or violet as they call it. There's black. There is red. There is light blue, or blue, pure blue as they call it. Then I have green bamboo. There's the green bamboo. Then I have this brown. So I will be reviewing these. We'll do some swatching, not today, maybe next week. I don't know if I'm going to do 3 and 3. We'll see, depending on, how much time I have. But so far, I can tell you I've used these inks. So far, so good. But we'll get into the detailed swatching and some, writing samples when we take a closer look at the inks. But I did want to mention that I got this all in for you guys. So stay tuned for the Jinhao. They look like a great product, 30 milliliters. They look like they're not full to the top. Is it because they're less than 30? I don't know, but the bottle looks like a very nice bottle. Very nice opening. So there you have it, Jinhao. And they're cheap, so very well appreciated. Okay, what's next? we're going to be looking at some inks, and you'll remember that last week, in last recap, we introduced the 2024 Van Diemen's collection, 12 inks, one per month, from January to December of 2024, one ink per month. And we reviewed the first 6 from January to June. We did some writing samples. It was part of a review that I had prepared of the entire 12, but it was just too long, so I decided to cut it in 2. We did the first 6 last week, and we're going to do the next 6 this week. So that's my next segment. So if you see that, this looks like it was part of another review, you'll understand why. I've just kind of edited as best as I could so that we could insert it right here. So stay tuned for the Van Diemen's 2024 collection. We'll be doing the months of July to the month of December. Here you have it. So that's June. July looks like there's some shimmer in there. You always wonder how they do these inks, eh? How it must just be like a laboratory where they just constantly experiment. Oof. Not sure I would like this ink. It's a little bit too light for me. Just don't like these light inks, even though it's got a lot of shimmer. This is July. Now you can hardly see it when you actually use it. So I don't know what kind of use you can make of this ink. More for the artists, I would think, than for the pen enthusiasts. But there are people who like these light inks. So this is August. Wow, these inks are drying up to look very, very nice. Never judge them until it's over. It's never over until it's over, as they say. Okay, another nice ink. Oh yeah, this I would like. This is August. Let me just yeah, this is more like it. Oh yeah. Very wet and saturated. Very nice ink, this one. Well, I guess when you have 12 of them in a collection, you can't please everyone, right? You gotta try to change things up. This is another shimmering ink. We'll see what gives. This is September. Thought it was going to be a nice one. Kind of, these shading inks are just not my favorite. But maybe when I write with it, I'll change my mind. Yeah, you see, it's... Okay, well, it's not as bad as I thought. And maybe when it dries up, I'll change my mind. That's September. Nice palette of colors, eh? Oh, let me just make sure I have to shake this. Yes, I do. So we're now in October here. This looks like a nice purple. Let's hope. Yeah, again, it's one of these. It looks like they put shimmer in some of these light inks. I guess it's to give them a little more character, but that would have been a nice ink if it, October 2024. There we go. Okay, folks, we're winding down here. This I think is going to look like a real light ink. yeah. Actually writes better than I expected, but not the greatest color in my view anyway. This is it shimmer? Let's check it up just in case it is. So the last one, we're in December, folks. And then we'll let them all dry up and we'll compare to what we see on the website. So this is this, oh yeah, now we're talking. So I would say the majority of these inks I actually like. There's just some of these light ones that are just not my cup of tea, as they say. So let's see how this writes. Yeah. You can actually feel it. It's saturated and wet, and, you know, you can write with it at least. So there you have it. I've got my 12 inks all nicely swatched. What we'll do is we'll give it some time to dry up. Having said that, what I'm going to do now, and you'll give me a few minutes, is I'm going to ink up some pens and take some of my favorite choices from these 12, and we'll do some writing samples just to see how they actually perform when we write with them. So I will be right back. Next. Okay, so June, that was June. I'm going to skip July again. Don't like that ink. And for August, I'm going to use this kind of tealish, another Ranga pen. So I think this is a Model 3, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. No, what am I writing? Van Diemen's. I was writing Visconti. Van Diemen's. And this is August 2024. This is a Ranga. I'm going to go with Model 3 or Model 3S, I forget now. It has a 1.5 stub. Yeah, very nice. Very saturated ink. It's got some wonderful shading there. Very nice. That's for August. Okay, what have I got for you next? September. Let me just pull out the swatch. September, I've gone with this one. Another Ranga pen, which I think it kind of mixes nicely, those colors, with a kind of a base there. So another Ranga pen, and this is just a shorter version, I think, of Ranga Model 3. And I forget if it's the 3S or the 3, but so this is Van Diemen's. And it's September of 2024. This ink comes down a little bit drier. This is a broad, yes. Ranga. I'm going to go with Model 3S. And is a broad nib. Fountain. Yeah, much drier ink. It goes down very dry. But if you want a quickly, a quick drying ink, I think this would be it. And the color is not as light as I thought it would be. And there again, you got some of that shimmer that kind of interferes with the flow sometimes. But there you have it. For October, what do we got here? October, I'm going to go with this Leonardo Furore. I thought would be a nice match. And this has got a 1.1 stub. So, yeah, it is a perfect match. And we're now in October. And this is a Leonardo Furore, and it's a 1.1. And just to write a few more words. Again, this ink comes down a little bit dry as well. And again, it must be because of that shimmer. Next, again, I've skipped November. I don't like that ink. And I've gone with December, and I'm going to use another Ranga pen. This is a Ranga Splendor Peak. Huge pen, but just beautiful. I love these big pens. So, oh, I just noticed the nib is not properly placed. Okay, here we go. So this is DIEMAN'S. Splendor Peak, and it is a 1.5 stub. Again, because of that shimmer, you can actually feel it. There you have it. So that's the green for December. Now, what have I got for you for the next segment? Well, we're going to do some paper and a notebook and journaling segment for you. Again, I had prepared a review where, a separate review where I was reviewing for you my 2025 setup, my journal setup, and my notebooks. You know, which journals would I be using during the week, during the year, and how I set them all up. And I had done a separate review and realized that maybe it's better that I fit that in one of my recaps. So what I did is I re-edited that video, cut it down to the bare minimum, and that's what I'm going to be presenting to you in this segment. Here is my 2025 notebook and journal setup. Okay, so we're back over at camera. I'm really excited about this to share with you my paper organization, or my journal and notebooks, and how I'm going to set things up for 2025. I'm really excited to show you. Some of you may know, I'm a paper fanatic, so I have a collection of 200, 300 notebooks of all kinds of paper that I test throughout the year, and then, you know, kind of assess which paper I like and which I don't like. You also will know by now that Tomoe River is one of my favorite paper products, so it will not be surprising that the focus of many of my journals will indeed be Tomoe River paper. But I did want to show you a variety of notebooks that are possible. So why don't we start with the office journal, or kind of a to-do list daily notebook that I use. This is the format that I use. First of all, this is a beautiful notebook. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of taken a toll for a while, but that's nice. It gives it that nice look. And in here, I have a kind of a daily Obonichi style notebook that I used for 2024. And at the end, I have a small insert notebook for just miscellaneous stuff. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'll show you, this is the 2024, which will go by the wayside. And in there, I'm going to be putting this product. That's the product that's in there now. It's Kimbor. Now, Kimbor is, in my view, it's an A5 notebook, and it's a cheap version of Obonichi. But for the life of me, I don't know what paper they use. It's still very unclear to me. but the paper in there is exactly the same as the Obonichi. So let me compare. This is the Obonichi. This was my Obonichi in 2021. Okay, and let me just get up. So you'll see that it gives you the date. Every month is a different color. There's some Japanese writing at the bottom. Then at the beginning they have monthly calendars, weekly calendars, and then the daily. Okay, and that's essentially the Obonichi. I think that some of you or most of you may be familiar. I get the same thing in this Kimbor, except the Obonichi, by the time it gets to my house in Canada, it'll cost me about $80. Okay, and this is a full year. It's not a half year. Whereas this Kimbor, I think, cost me $25. And it really gives me the same thing. It gives me the month, the day. There's no writing at the bottom to take any space. I get a monthly view in the corner here. Yes, the months are not colored. They're just gray patterned. Okay, but so what? At the beginning, I get the same thing. I get my monthly calendars. I get my weekly calendars, if that's what I prefer. And that Kimbor will go into this notebook for the year rather than the Obonichi. So that will be my daily agenda / to-do list notebook that I carry with me all the time in my briefcase at the office, where I take notes for during telephone conversations, at meetings, etc., etc. So that kind of is the only setup I have for the office. Okay, apart from using notepads, which I'm not going to get into today. So recommended. Kimbor is an alternative. Now, to Obonichi. Now, should you not like the day or daily journals, because oftentimes we may not end up using the entire page, so you'll end up kind of skipping many days where you have nothing in it. Rarely happens for me, but it may happen for you. Or you just want a freestyle notebook. Well, Kimbor, again, at very moderate prices, has the same setup, if you will, without any dates. And the paper is just a little thicker than the daily journal. But again, Kimbor, look it up. I will leave links in the description. It's an A5. If you prefer a freestyle, there you have it. By the way, the Kimbor does have a, where is it? Here it is. Okay, for your, just to, keep tabs of your day. Okay, so that's a nice touch. So those are some alternatives for the daily office. Now, if you absolutely insist on Obonichi products, and by the way, they are now shifted. They're now using Sanson Tomoe River, not the original. You can always get this Obonichi. This was my 2020. I chose a day-free calendar or journal type. Let me just, so you can see, it's the Obonichi style, but with no dates on it. Okay, there is some Japanese writing. At the beginning, they do offer calendars, okay, in case you want to keep track of weekly or monthly. That's one option. For example, I bought this Obonichi 2023. By the way, I purchased this, I purchased this here. I got a sale on it, not because it's any use of, is no longer any use for me because, the dates don't match, but I use it as spare paper. It's the original Tomoe River. I like to test my pens on this when I just want to. So I'm using these notebooks, which are really expensive, but I purchased for a really, really good sale. And I use it as just extra paper with that original Tomoe River paper in it. If the day free is the day free is a little more expensive because it has a little bit of calendar, there is a day free, which is just a notebook from Obonichi. But again, these products go for a little more of a premium. They're wonderful notebooks, but you can look these up on the Obonichi sites. You can get all of this if you absolutely want to insist on Obonichi products for your daily journals. Okay, so that's the office. Okay, now what do we do at home? Well, at home, first thing I do is I kind of given up on this. This is a Obonichi 5-year personal journal. And the way it works is that every month, so for example, this is the 8th day of June, or is it June or August? 6th day of August, get 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. What I found myself is struggling to actually put something in there every day, and was kind of stressing me out more than anything else when I wasn't able to fill anything out. The beauty about this, though, is that you could just put a few lines, don't have to, go through song and dance. And if you do want to expand on it for any particular reason, they have a free page on the right side. I've started journaling again, and rather than focusing on negative and whatever happened at work, I'm not going to rash my day. This is kind of a journal that's keep track of my YouTube channel, my golf, my more my leisure time than it is my office time and all the negativity that centers around a stressful day. Okay, so this is the Obonichi 5-year journal, and I'm going to use it in this beautiful, it's a larger leather cover made specifically for the Obonichi journal and with my initials. So there you have it. I'm going to be using that, and I've kind of gone back to it and used it, and I don't feel stressed. If I fill it out, I fill it out. If I don't, I don't. So that's the way it is, and it's fun to look back, from year to year, and I'm sure that it'll be a lot more fun reading this 5 years from now than it is at the present time. So that's my life journal, if you will, that I keep track of. Okay, next thing is that my daily YouTube or pen experiences, where I just like to write with my pens and just write any gibberish, nothing literary, or not complete paragraphs, just to test the pens, jot down some ideas. This is a cover I bought in Italy. It's a hard cover, and as you can see in here, I have all kinds of ideas. I practice my handwriting, my different pens. So there's nothing scientific about this. Different nibs, different inks, etc., etc. It's every day I write something there, but this is where I just want my free time. I will take a pen and just writing anything. Okay, the paper you could use in here are the following. Again, it's Obonichi. Okay, and I buy my Obonichi. Again, it's Tomoe River. Sorry, I buy my Tomoe River notebooks from the site of Nanimi Paper. And you've got different types. You can get the Studio Note. The Studio Note, first of all, you could see it's all Tomoe River, and it's a grid, okay? So graph grid, full grid if that's what you prefer. So that's the grid journal. You can buy the Crossfield. The Crossfield is a dotted grid, if that's what you like. Again, Obonichi. A Tomoe River paper, beautiful paper, nice and big, lots of work. You can write lots of stuff in here. So that's the Crossfield. The Crossfield is the dotted. And what I've grown fond of these days is the Writer. And I think you've seen it if you've seen some of my reviews. The Writer is a lined version of the notebook. And that's what I've got in here right now. As you can see, we're in December, and I haven't quite finished it yet. Okay, we're still here. I've done some of my reviews here. You know, but although reviews, I've adopted another system. This is when I was doing the Italian pens of 2024, and this is what you saw on camera. Okay, so this is a journal that I use strictly for my fountain pen experiences, and the cover reflects that as well. So I will be, when that one's finished, I will be switching out and putting in another writer from Nanami paper. So those are your three options that you have from Nanami paper: the Studio Note, the Crossfield, or the writer. Very nice products. Very, very nice products. So there you have it. So that's my official YouTube writing experience notebook, is this one here with my initials, etc. And this will last me forever. I just have to replace the notebook with whatever product I want, frankly, but I'm limited to an A5. And sorry about that. I'm filming with my iPhone, and when somebody calls, everything kind of gets interrupted. I was saying, so when you're finished the year, for example, you can put it back in this cardboard sleeve. You can even put a label there, label the year that you're dealing with. So these are very, very convenient. Okay, so that's my official writing experience, or official YouTube, not even YouTube, it's my official writing, just venting, if you will, journal. Okay, I have a different type of journal where I use to kind of jot down ideas that are not that are more YouTube related. What I do here is I use old Obonichi notebooks. So, for example, in that Obonichi that I showed you earlier, this one here, it's dated 2021, but I will be using it as just spare paper. Same thing goes for this 2023 Obonichi that I purchased this year on sale. So that's what's going to go in this notebook. So this is kind of the garbage notebook, garbage ideas, whatever I don't want to, waste good journal writing experiences. I just want to, it's even more freelance than this one, put it this way. And so that's what I'm using for my extra writing journal. So that covers that. Now, I also have two small notebooks that I use. The first one is this one here. This one, I put in this journal, again, from Nanami paper. It's Tomo River. It's the same principle, except it's smaller sized. Tomo River paper, lined. This stays, I'm going to put it in. I've taken it out, but I put it in the sleeve with a little pen. This is my Admoc M400, if you will. This stays next to me when I'm watching television or I'm surfing on the internet with my iPad or watching YouTube videos, and I get ideas about possible purchases or things that I want to do, and I don't want to go downstairs and get my larger notebooks where they're all filed. This stays with me all the time, and I jot down my ideas. Similar thing is this thing. This thing is a little bit smaller and sometimes gets put in my men's purse. I use a men's purse. Here I purchased old Obonichi A6 size notebooks, and I use it really for the same reasons. And I just love this beautiful leather cover. And in this case, I had the Kinbor. You see, so the Kinbor comes in A6 as well, much cheaper than the Obonichi. I thought it was an Obonichi in here. You see, I didn't even know the difference. But this is the Kinbor. So I have the Kinbor in here. And again, the dates don't match. That's fine. It's just to jot down ideas when I'm on the road. So this one comes with me on the road. And this one stays with me just, next to my, on my sofa, next to my television. Get an idea. There you have it. I have two smaller notebooks for quick notes when needed. Now, what have I adopted? I've adopted a system for my reviews. more and more I'm going to be doing my reviews on Tomoe River paper, but on a notepad, so I can simply tear off the page and keep that page as an actual writing sample of the pen. And what do I do with the page? Well, I purchased this kind of a binder with this very nice fake leather, by the way, kind of Swedish. Whoop, that's not, it's the side here. But it's got a little binding. So, you know, I put all my reviews in here. So every pen I've reviewed gets put in here. I punch holes. I bought myself a little puncher. There you go. Sick old puncher that fits this specification of a binder. So these are my Chinese pens. These are my Indian pens. These are anything but Italian. And this is all my Italian pens. So I've got them color coded. And, you know, when I fill it up, I'm just going to take it and store it away. And this kind of gives me you know, I keep up to date with all my reviews, and I keep them nice and filed. And when the year goes by, put them away and start a new year. So that's going to be my writing sample journal, if you will, for the year. So there you have it. Now there's one more journal I wanted to show you, and that is it's found in this. I often use this one for my B-roll, okay, but I put in here a Galen leather notebook, which is plain, a blank page. So I'm going to use this from time to time. I'm a little bit discouraged because I find, and I've done a couple of reviews here, I find that the paper is probably Sanson, and it just doesn't give me the same feel. There's something about it. I don't know what to tell you. Let me see if this pen writes. Yeah, this is the Majon V60. I'm just writing anything. It just, the paper feels like I'm writing in mud. It's not as, I apologize, not as fluid as I would want it to be. And it's Sanson, so I noticed the difference. So when I did, I went out and bought a bunch of Tomoe River original papers, and I think I'm good for many, many, many years. But I haven't given up on Sanson, so from time to time I will go back to it and test several pens. Here I've tested, you know, I did a review of this is the Mont Blanc Ferrari Fake, if you will, that I reviewed. I did one on the, you know, the official review went on this Tomoe River, but I just redid the review on the Sanson just to feel, and I'm going to be doing that most of the time. I do that off camera because I haven't given up on this paper, and given that that's going to be the standard from now on, I want to see if it's the pens, if it's the ink, or if it's just a figment of my imagination. So this I call the Sanson writing sample notebook, if you will. And that's, do I have anything else? Oh, of course, you've all seen my swatch books. I have swatch books, different colors for different inks, where I swatch all my inks. This is Tomoe River, Good Impressions. So that's always, and I'm going to try to be a little more disciplined this year. I realized I have a bunch of inks that I bought that I never swatched. So now that I'm on vacation or during the holiday period, I'm taking color by color and going through and see which ones have been swatched and which ones haven't been swatched. Okay, so that kind of completes things for this week. Let me just take a sip of my cappuccino. I hope you enjoyed that. And Agitator Pro, I hope that my camera is better now. I'm looking straight at it, and maybe others who hesitated to comment now are pleased to see that I'm doing my best to talk into the camera as opposed to talking on the side because my camera was slightly to the left. So there you have it. I hope you appreciate that, and I hope that Agitator Pro appreciates that, and I hope he answers and says, great job. He pulled a fast one, really criticized me on that one, so I want him to answer back and say that I did a semi-good job this time. Folks, have a great week. Enjoy it. I hope I have a better week than I had this last week. And if not, I've got my fountain pen therapy to relax me at all times. Ciao, folks.